talented drivers from diverse backgrounds a chance to compete. Take us through that moment a little bit and what it has meant for your career and the perspective and just the fact that NASCAR has been willing to invest in this process and developing other athletes in this format. What does that mean?
Yeah, the process is huge. I want to make sure I say this because I think it would shock people. NASCAR for years has been winning diversity awards across sports for years. NASCAR has the most diverse building, HQ, and whether it's people of color or females that are in position to make big decisions and that can build teams. Like that's what NASCAR has done, and we've been doing it for a while. The hard thing is our sport, our athletes that are face forward are the drivers. There's only 40 of them. There's only 100 of them, 120 that get to race NASCAR week in and week out in the entire world. Like, you know what I mean? So
that's crazy.
The barrier to entry is a dollar amount. Like if you have the funds to get the time and to put in the work, then you can be there. But so for us, a lot of our diversity comes on the back end. People that are putting in the work to put on the show, and they don't get all their roses all the time, and you don't see that. So like when people that don't know the sport are like, "Oh, this is really just a white man sport," like, no, it's not. Like there's a lot of diversity here. I'm down here in Daytona, and there's so many different people of different creeds in the infield, camping out together, community. It's an amazing thing, and I think NASCAR has been leading the charge for a minute. I think getting rid of the Confederate flag for a lot of people really opened some eyes on both ends of the spectrum. Like I think some people didn't know how bad it affected people, and some people didn't know, oh, they're really not like that. They don't care that much about that. So it's we've been through the process, and it's been a good one, man.
It's another one of those things where the more people can listen to one another and hear from somebody else's perspective, the more that opens up the dialogue. And I think that's really important you're sharing that too, because I've been in the industry for a long time. I've studied diversity, equity, and inclusion across different sports. I didn't know that about NASCAR. Yeah. So I think that's brilliant that we're sharing that and getting that word out there, because I didn't know it was as diverse of an HQ as you're saying. So I think that's really cool to share. I know it isn't NASCAR, but I'm going to pivot here for a second. I know it isn't NASCAR, but in December, FIA put out rules in place restricting drivers' voice, right? So they can't make political, religious, or personal statements, which to many seem like a direct shot across the bow of Lewis Hamilton, who has been very vocal. What are your thoughts on trying to restrict the voice of athletes? Because I think we're in a generation right now where athletes across the board, whether it's LeBron or it's Serena or it's Lewis Hamilton, are being more vocal than ever. And it's sad to me to hear any kind of a governing body say, no, you can't do that. What do you think about that?
Man, I think it's sad when anyone is trying to restrict anyone from their thoughts. At the same time, there's a risk, right? There's a risk versus reward of being open-minded and having your own thoughts. And that's okay. If that person wants to take on that risk, the juice is worth the squeeze for whatever it is to them. And I think you got to let people do that. And whatever the fallout is, you deal with that later. But if you feel passionate about something, you shouldn't be restricted in talking about it. And for Lewis, he's such a leader in the world. He's like one of those Kobe Bryant type guys, one of those Chadwick Boseman
100%.
type guys that like when he speaks, people listen. And I hate that because that's such a big part of him and why he's great. And for F1, there are a lot of reasons why they're great is because of him. And because of what he does and being open and so I think that's a really risky road to go down, making a law, right? There's always internal like, hey, maybe if you want to talk about this, let's make sure we do it like this. But just to break it down and be like, no speaking on this at all, like I don't really like that.
No, I don't run with that. And I feel like I love the fact that he came out recently and was like, yeah, that's not going to stop me. Like he's using his leverage too. He's like, I've got power in this conversation. I can decide whether I'm going to agree to this or not. And if you want to penalize me however you're going to penalize me, trust me, the backlash is going to go against you, not me. So I think he's using his leverage, which is pretty cool.
He's arguably the GOAT, right? I mean, and he's talking about 101. He's like, obviously there's diverse backgrounds because it's F1 and there people are coming from all over, but he's been one of the only people that looks like him in that space and has become a legend.
Yeah.
Like, not just because of that, but because he wins. He's a bona fide winner and champion. So, like,
it's not a novelty. He's a star.
Yeah, he's a stud. Yeah. Like, you better be careful because a lot of people wear Lewis Hamilton stuff, all over the world. Like, that's right. He is the face.
All right. So before we go any further, you got to explain the Black Mamba nickname. I know you probably have had to explain this 10,000 times. You grew up in Vermont. Your name is Dylan Smith, but you're Black Mamba now. Yeah. So how did it happen? I got to know.
So it was about 2011, and I went go-karting with a group of people I didn't know. It was like Brandon McReynolds, Corey LaJoy, Joey Logano, Skip Flores, like all these racers, and we're all the same age, right?
Yeah.
And I'm new. And I went down with my buddy Michael Cherry, who had been racing with them. And I'm new and like I don't know I know who these guys are, but I'm just trying to find my bearings, you know what I mean?
Find your lane. Where do you fit?
I'm an 18, how do you fit in with these people? 18, 19-year-old kid by myself just trying to find it. And I had gone to this go-kart track the year before I moved. And you get to put in a racer name. And at the time, Kobe Bryant was the baddest man on the planet. Like
hell yeah.
Baddest athlete on the planet, right? And his nickname came up as the Black Mamba. Well, like DeAnthony Thomas in NCAA football, he became the Black Mamba. And they, like all these sports were like dubbing different people. I'm like, Black Mamba, that's cool. I'm like, hell, I know ain't no one got Black Mamba in NASCAR. Like I know that for sure. I know that for sure.
I know I can take it here.
So I was like, let me put that in. Well, I put it in and I forgot all about it. Well, when I went back to race with all these people, that's what showed up on the leaderboard. We do the first race and I end up like in the middle, like 6th or 7th or something like that. So like respectable for all these people. Yeah. Yeah. And they're like looking down the leaderboard, they're like, who in the hell is the Black Mamba? And I'm like, yo, and I'm like 5.
This guy.
Yeah, I'm like 5'9". I mean, I'm not huge. Like I weigh 150 pounds soaking wet at the time. And they're like, that's awesome. And it stuck. Well, what happened is that next race, Joey Logano and Corey LaJoy squeezed me into the first corner and someone hit me from the back and got my go-kart stuck under the wall and they had to stop the race. And everyone's like, what's going on, Black Mamba? Like, what are you holding up this shit? Like, bro. And then they started seeing me at the racetrack and everything. I even got
It just happened.
It just stuck. And I even got a voicemail. I think I saved it from my friend, Too Tall Medill. His nickname's Too Tall because he's 5. We call it 5'19". So he's like 6'7". He's huge. And
5'19".
5'19". Like and so he goes, hey, I don't know who Dylan is, but Black Mamba, if this is you, like, call me back. It's like, because my voicemail,
hilarious.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. You're like, hey, it's Dylan Smith, leave a message. He's like, I don't know if this is the right number, Dylan, but if Black Mamba's there, have him call me.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so for a long time, no one knew my name was Dylan, so it's okay. It worked out.
Yeah.
I love it.
Who needs it now? Throw it away. Who needs Dylan anymore?
Yeah,
you're Mamba.
Yeah, I tried signing my autograph, Mamba, but it's too much. And like the letters are, it's just the same stuff, right? Because M-A.
Oh yeah.
And then M and then B-A. So it's a lot of.
This looks like a bunch of bounces. Yeah.
Like I can't do this thing. So and then I thought about that part. I think it was in Coming to America when he's talking about Muhammad Ali. He's like, if his mom calls him Cassius, I'm gonna call him Cassius. So I'm like, you know what? My mom would name me Dylan, so I'm gonna do Dylan, do the parentheses, Mamba, and then Smith. So like I keep it, make mom happy and everything.
It all works out. Let's talk about this NASCAR Chief Hype Officer deal. So 2020, you start your own Mamba Media. 2021, like you said, Tim Clark and Amy came to you and brought you in to talk about taking on a role with NASCAR. What does it mean? What's it like for you being a part of this organization? And why do you think they identified you? Why did Amy and Tim say we want to talk to Mamba and see if this is a fit?
You know, like I've had obviously 7 years of trying to get into the NASCAR diversity program as a driver. Like and you just you can't get over. Like I got over the hump once, but then it was short lived, right? And like
Yeah.
it just hurt. Like it hurt because it was like I was a top 5, top 3 candidate every time, and I was like, I don't know what is going on. Like I don't know why I'm not getting. So like my heart got a little hardened, you know, by it when it comes to that. So when Tim came to me, I'll tell you, I've told this story so many times with him. It's probably my favorite one to tell, honestly. So he comes to me, he's like, hey man, can we meet at the Starbucks across from the office? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. Right? And I don't know what Tim looks like. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
We've met at a party once, but like it was a Halloween party at Ryan Blaney's house. So like, I mean,
you're not gonna remember
we didn't
meeting
really,
somebody.
Yeah, we didn't really meet, you know.
Yeah.
So
I still don't know what you look like. You were in Halloween garb. Yeah.
right? So I show up to the Starbucks. I got a straw Truly hat, like a big straw Truly hat. I got my Fresh Prince of Bel-Air baseball jersey and these
But of course,
tiger print pink flamingo shorts. And Tim comes in and he's like, you know, looking pretty corporate. And he's like, hey, Tim. He's like, hey, Mom, this is Tim Clark. And I'm like, hey, man, nice to meet you. I go, hi, man, what do you want? Like, just straight. I'm just like, so what do you want? Like, what do you want to do? And he's like,
time is money. Let's get this going, bro.
yeah. He's like, well, what do you want? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, what? So, and we chatted and I just could believe in him. Like, I could believe because he believed in me.